LFC Daytrippers, brought to you by bookmakers.com.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Fatback 4 from the LFC Daytrippers. I'm Gav, and with me tonight it's just me and Keith. Excuse me, tonight. Show is brought to you by bookmakers.com. Check out comparisons, articles, stats, and stuff like that if you're not into gambling but you want to go onto that site. If you are into gambling, everything is there you need for all the odds on all the sports, golf, football, rugby, whatever you might need. But always remember to do so responsibly. The lads done a really good post-match show again yesterday afternoon, Emma and Matt. They covered it from start to finish. Keith is blessing himself after that. Just praying that he doesn't get asked onto a full-time show anytime soon. But we're going to do an hour or so now on the match last night. And anything else that comes up in the chat. So anything you have in the chat, throw it up there. Don't worry, we don't read it out straight away. We'll keep an eye on it and we'll bring it back up if and when we need it. Keith, how are you?
Yeah, I'm grand. Shawnee and Emma didn't come on tonight because they're in solidarity with Gary Lineker. But me and you are two scabs. We said both coming on. The show must go on. So the two scabbiest scabs in town says, yeah, we'll do it.
No, in fairness, Emma done the post-match show yesterday, so we don't usually have anyone on the post-match on the Fatback 4, and Shawnee's not well. So we just said, here, the two of us will do this. We'll bang it out in an hour.
That's it, the show must go on.
We'll see how it goes. But look, we look across the game, we go through a couple of players, a couple of incidents, whatever the way we played, stuff like that, because the lads cover a lot of incidents in the post-match yesterday. But, like, you look at the team, it's Bajcetic for Henderson, no other changes from the United game. And you're okay with that. You're absolutely okay with that, because Bajcetic has been excellent. When he's played, so you thought, he's good on the ball, he's very press resistant, and you might see that from Bournemouth. So going into it, I was absolutely fine with the side, no issues whatsoever. I don't think anyone else was. Keith, were you?
No, I mean, look, I hate the half-12 kickoffs. That was my biggest sort of issue, was I fucking hate them early games. But with the lineup, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, I agree. I think Bajcetic has come to a stage now where you're not looking at him in the team and thinking, not this young fella. He's excellent. He's very good. And I think when he plays with Fabinho, I think it even unlocks him a bit more. Do you know what I mean? It gets him higher up the pitch. He's able to carry the ball a bit forward. So I was happy enough with that team. I think you come out on the back of a 7-0 beating the Manchester United and you expect, right, very few changes. Big games coming up, taking fast now. And let's just keep it rolling. So, I was happy with the team when I seen it. Didn't last long, but when the team news came out, it was like, that's decent enough. We should have enough, because no disrespect to Bournemouth, they're not a great side, and they had trouble as well. They went to a back four. We usually play at a back five. They flooded the midfield, and I was looking at it and looking at our team and looking at their team. I was thinking there should be more than enough on the back of a good 3 points. In fact, on the back of an excellent win, you know what I mean? A confidence booster. This should be not a handy, but a straightforward enough win. And no such thing.
I constantly go on about it when we play anybody. Genuinely anybody now, bar probably City, Arsenal, and one or two others. You have to win the battle. And you have to win the right to play. And on top of that, when you go into these games, like, they're going to look to feed off scraps. They're going to look to feed off, any sort of encouragement, and you don't want to give them any sort of encouragement. But I felt yesterday, Keith, was a day where we kept encouraging Bournemouth. You know, like I think City went there a couple of weeks ago, won 4-1. And if you watch that game, City just kept the ball, kept playing, made sure they didn't make any silly mistakes. If Bournemouth tried to get out, they snuffed it out straight away. And Liverpool didn't do it. In fact, Liverpool set up Bournemouth for a lot of what they done. Trent gives away a couple, but Chettich gives away one. And you're kind of looking at it going, lads, if you just keep this simple and keep it, just keep it, like, you don't have to go out and blitz them by any means. But if you keep playing football, keep it tight, snuff them out, win your battles, you'll win this game. And, like, Pure Original says it was an utterly abject, cowardly performance, a team incapable of performing if the slightest thing goes wrong. And that might sound a bit harsh, but when things go against us, forced in a match, we seem to struggle massively to respond to it. Particularly away from home. I've seen a stat that we've played, I think it was about 8 games where they've listed, like, from Brighton, Brentford, Bournemouth,
Fulham, Forest.
Yeah, Fulham, Forest, and it's like we scored 6 goals in these 8 games. We conceded 14, and Keith, you win 7-0 last week, and they were brilliant. They won their battles, they got stuck in, great tempo, they put away chances, they made chances, whatever it might be. And then they rock up at Bournemouth yesterday, off the back of Jurgen Klopp saying, we have to go in here, we know Bournemouth are going to be, not buzzing, but encouraged by what happened at Arsenal, even though they lost the game. They're going to have that crowd behind them. And he was very forthright in, where Liverpool needed to be yesterday. And they just weren't there. Keith. And this is not one of those things where you go, what happened yesterday? This is 3 league wins away from home all season. Like, that doesn't get you top 4, Keith.
No, it doesn't. And you're right, it's been all season. Yesterday wasn't any aberration. It wasn't something that we're not seeing. It's all too familiar. It was nearly a carbon copy of the Nottingham Forest game. It was ridiculous. And you touched on it there about Bournemouth. They got beaten last week by Arsenal. Very, very unlucky. You know what I mean? They went in, they grabbed the lead. And that can go one of 2 ways as well. That can knock the arse out of them, or it can galvanise them. And I felt they came out and their crowd was great for them. I felt that they were quicker to the balls. They were winning all the battles. And there's a lot of people in the chat are laying into the 2 young lads in midfield. I didn't blame them. I thought our defenders were bleeding. I thought it all stemmed from... Well, and Trent, I thought they were awful. I thought they were so panicky or so lax. There was no composure with them. And I just felt that stemmed all the way through the team. Do you know what I mean? I felt that we just never showed up for the fight, and that's criminal. We gave ourselves a great opportunity, and I'm not going to change my opinion that we can still make top 4 based on that game yesterday, because we've seen that game 100 times. Do you know what I mean? We've seen that go against us this year. And the reason I'm not changing my opinion on that is because this league is poxy. It's absolutely brutal. And I think teams will drop points. But we're making it too hard for ourselves. We're not giving ourselves any sort of a good chance to make a run at this. You look at the game yesterday, Gav. We start off, we've got a front 3 that each got a brace against Man United. So you think, right there, they're bleeding delighted. They're happy. Let's go. You've got Harvey Elliott on the back of possibly his best performance for Liverpool. You think, right, get him on the ball. Let's see what he can do. But Chettich has been the find of the season. And Kanate coming back in to the centre half looked like that was going to be the answer to our prayers at the back. But we went in against a team who were physical in the middle and quick out wide, and we just didn't do anything. We didn't lay a blatant glove on them, and that's the worst thing. It's easy to say we were shy, we were this, we were that. If we scored a penalty, I think we go on to win the game. I don't think they were as good as maybe me and others are making them out to be. I think they've done a good job. They looked threatening enough on the break, but we just looked absolutely, to go from the 7-0 again, Old Trafford, I was going to say, the 7-0 at Anfield against United to that, it sums Liverpool up perfectly at the moment, Gavin. We come on this show and we do it every week, and we've done it through the good times, do you know what I mean? And it was great, loved it, highlight of the week. This time I'm looking for excuses not to come on. I'm washing my hair, can't make it on tonight, Gav, but we just still have to do it. You have to take your licks, unfortunately, with this. But, you know, we're seeing Liverpool here. We went through the mentality monsters period, and now I'm not saying they're not mentality monsters anymore. They can get that back, but I just think they're so fragile mentally. Tired, I think fatigued, certainly mentally fatigued, as well as physically fatigued. And they just cannot motivate themselves for games like this. It does me head in. It baffles me how they can't do it. How, you know, I'm putting the blame, if I'm picking individuals, I'm putting the blame on some senior players here. I'm not blaming them two young lads in midfield for what happened yesterday. I'm putting the blame firmly on some senior players, and they're the ones you expect to carry you through. And I didn't feel like they did. I didn't feel like they showed up at all yesterday, and that was the worst of the whole thing.
Paul Gormley says Klopp made a point in his pre-match interview about attitude. He obviously feels attitude is a problem with this squad at the moment. You know, I think it's a genuine worry. You know, and we've, like you say, over the last couple of years doing this podcast and even having a point talking about things, and we always lavished Liverpool with loads of praise about their attitude, their willingness to work, their willingness to figure out games, and you know, if they see a potential issue, they go and smother it very, very quickly and turn it to an advantage. Whereas yesterday to me just felt like swanning into Bournemouth. That's what it felt like. Swanning into Bournemouth, regardless of your manager doing a press conference on Friday, okay, and a pre-match interview like Paul Gormley says there about attitude and what to expect from Bournemouth. And, you know, some of the chats today, we were really good the first 15, 20, and if Virgil had scored, but we didn't. We were really good and we didn't score. So what you have to do is you have to take the next 20 and be as good and do score. But we don't. We just start switching off. We start literally passing balls across the pitch, allowing them to get on it. And what they were looking for, they were looking for their two wide men to try hurt us. And, you know, Solanke, however, getting on the end of it. That's what they were looking for. And that's what the encouragement that they were looking for. And we gave it to them in spades yesterday. We gave it in spades. And I go back to it. When you're in a game like that, all right, you need your two centre-backs and two of your midfielders to be on form, i.e. Van Dijk and Konate to snuff out anything, okay, whether that's covering one of their full-backs, one of them takes the centre, man in the centre, and one covers to the right or left, depending on where they are, and your two midfielders to snuff anything out. If anything goes into midfield, you're on it, you're making sure no one can get turned with a head up looking for wide men, and we did not let that happen. Like you're saying, mentally fatigued and people say physically fatigued. I'm sorry, but if you're physically fatigued, if them players are physically fatigued, Liverpool Football Club will know about it. They analyse them to within an inch of their life on a daily basis, right? Mentally fatigued. I'm sorry, if I beat Manchester United 7-0 on Sunday, there's not a fucking hint of mental fatigue in me when I'm turning out a bomb at the 12:30, 6
Should
days
be buzzing.
later. There's just
Should be
not
hopping out onto that
There's
pitch.
just not. But like I kept the thing here, right? Revenue FC says VVD was wearing the armband and he was abysmal. Giving up on the goal was unforgivable. He was the worst of them yesterday for me. People say he's lost the yard of pace. I don't believe that. I think Virgil van Dijk can keep. If Virgil van Dijk has lost the yard of pace, he still keeps up with 99% of forwards on this planet. All right, but for me, yesterday, I'm sorry to say, he went in there with an attitude of, "I'll just show up here and I'll be the dog's bollocks and I'll be the captain and I'll be this," and he was appalling. And the other boy beside him wasn't too much better. They were hesitant. They were letting guys get the other side of them. They were letting fellas run beyond them, and then they're passing. They were taking a fucking age to pass the ball. You know, on a nice surface, nice greasy surface, go and play. Get your fullbacks involved. Zip the ball here, zip the ball there. And he didn't. And I thought Van Dijk was appalling yesterday.
He certainly was. Yeah, I agree totally with that. I mean, Van Dijk is such a good player, and I think too many people are writing him off based on this season. Do you know what I mean? Yesterday was the culmination of a terrible season, and I gave the excuse for a long time that I felt he was holding himself back for the World Cup because he didn't want to miss the World Cup. That proved to be a load of bollocks. Yesterday we saw a player that I agree. I don't think it's that he lost his pace, because I still think he's quick. I still think he's fast. On that goal, I don't know if he gave up on it or he's too cocky about showing players, trying to show
Sam
players
Tandy
out.
says, I think for their goal, we switched off thinking it's offside. It's not
Yeah.
right, but I think that's what happened. We need to get used to playing to the whistle like we used to before. Sam, maybe that's what happened. But Keith, you train under eights, and the first thing they're told is play to the whistle.
Yeah, exactly. You have to play to the whistle, and you can't stop. You know what I mean? You can't just run or not do what you're meant to do, because it was funny. Like the goal, Van Dijk stops and you're like, what the fuck is he doing? Do you know what I mean? Like, what is he doing? It's a casualness. And look, it was one of the traits that made him the best defender in the world. You know, he didn't get flustered, he didn't panic, but it just didn't make any sense. Do you know what I mean? They were getting bullied a bit in that game, in my opinion. You know, they were getting, whether it be Solanke, whether it was the two wide players, Jaden Anthony, and I can't remember the other fella's name, Dango Otano, I think it was. They were Otaro, was it? Yeah, Otaro. They were just using their strength and their power and their pace, and it was just too much for Liverpool. And the one thing you can say about Konate and Van Dijk centre back partnership is they're quick. Whether Van Dijk's lost the yard of pace or not, they're quick. They just couldn't deal with these fellas at all, and they were too lax, and they weren't putting in. We had this conversation after Man City when Gomez and Van Dijk put in bleeding prime performances against Haaland and were excellent, and then after that they fell off a cliff again. And this is what seems to be happening. When the big games are there, this is the biggest thing that annoys me. Last week, Van Dijk was grand. He was great. Konate, brilliant. This week against Dominic Solanke and two fellas that I can't even remember their names, I have to think about, they were shy. And it's, when you look at that Bournemouth team, I can't even remember the names of the fellas. There was a fella playing, he was the fella that played between the midfield and the attack, Rothwell or something. I never heard of him. Do you know what I mean? I know a lot of footballers. I never heard of him. I never heard of this fella that he had on the wing, Dango Otaro. Played Thor Russell, new one. Do you know what I mean? Walked his bollocks off going back when he needed it. And it was all because we didn't put in. They put in the graft yesterday and we didn't. So we look at that yesterday and I felt that, Van Dijk, to me, it all stemmed from the defence. Van Dijk, Konate, terrible. I thought Trent was too lax. I thought Robertson, he was trying to get up and join in the attacks, but I didn't think he was great either. And that just stemmed through the whole team. There was I wouldn't say a fragility, but a nervousness whenever they had the ball, and that shouldn't be the case against Bournemouth.
But I don't think it's a nervousness, Keith. Like,
just an arrogance.
Yeah. Just, look, I get at certain stages where if you're going through a bad run of form, you are nervous when the other teams have the ball, and you're kind of a bit hesitant to press the window. But Liverpool are coming off 4 wins in the last 5 in the league, 5 clean sheets. Do you know what I mean? 5 clean sheets in a row, I think, right?
Yeah.
And so there's no, you shouldn't be nervous in any way. For me, it was a case, I felt like when we had the ball, we were too slow on it. And when they had the ball, not that we gave them too much respect, we didn't respect them enough. We didn't respect them enough to say, I'm going to close him down. I'm going to make sure that their fullbacks can't get their heads up and look down the line and pick something out. Or the guy sitting in front of that back four can turn and open his body and look here and there. I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen. And whether that's Bajcetic has to do it, whether that's Elia has to do it, Gakpo, Salah, whoever, I felt it was just a case of, they'll kick it up there and we'll get it back and we keep playing. But fair enough if you don't want to press, right? But you have to defend.
Yeah.
Okay? And when you get it back, you have to play with a purpose. Liverpool didn't play with a purpose yesterday. Liverpool played with, we'll sleepwalk through this and something will happen and we get a goal and that'll be it. And it's horrible because if Liverpool were going away to big sides or playing big sides at home and that was happening, you'd be kind of going, what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah.
But it's actually worse when you do it against a lower side for me. It's actually worse when you do it against a lower side. All right, you don't want to get too close to Kevin De Bruyne. He might turn around, go past you and hit a ball and he's opened you up. Fine. Right? You might step off and give him that bit of respect and make sure you're set. But against these sides aren't going to play through you. These sides aren't going to, absolutely pass you off the park. What they are going to do, though, is they're going to, if they get a minute, they're all Premier League footballers, right? And if they get a minute, they are going to get their head up and they are going to put it into space. And the only thing they were looking to utilise yesterday was pace wide all day long, right? And the thing was, with our fullbacks so high up, it would have been against centre halves, and those centre halves for me weren't strong enough. So if you're not pressing them, that's a problem. But if the guy isn't defending it, now you've huge problems, and that's not quality. That's not mental fatigue. That's attitude.
Yeah.
And that's what annoys me the most. Listen, if Liverpool went out there yesterday and ran ourselves into the ground and got beaten by a Worley and hit the bar 3 times, and all right, they missed the penalty, that can happen, right? Terrible penalty, by the way, and we got onto it.
Yeah.
But if they ran that and you kind of went, look, that keeper's had a Worley, you can take that. But what annoys me is I cannot stand any football team where you come out the pitch and go, they just didn't put it in, on the ball or off the ball. And that's where I think it came down to. But, like, what do you do? What do you do for this, Keith? Like, because this away thing is an issue. I thought it was gone.
Yeah.
I thought, you've gone to Newcastle, you've got a good win, okay? You've gone away to Palace, okay, you didn't win, but you probably should have.
And you kept a clean sheet.
Yeah. We've had a great win against United. We've beaten Wolves, we've had them, don't know how many games against them. And you thought you're on the other side of it. And you're looking this week going, if we win this, there's a couple of games that weekend that might turn it for us, and we could be right up United's arse, never mind Spurs or Newcastle or anything else. And what did he do to change it? Because it's not like we don't have the quality there to win games. Does he start dropping people again? Does he start going, no, that wasn't good enough, you're done?
It's a hard one, isn't it?
He's running out of players to do that too, by the way.
Yeah, see, I think, Henderson was a big miss yesterday, and I know it's easy to say that after the event, but sometimes you need that bit of leadership in there, even when he's not playing at his best. And I think he's been okay, actually, the last while. But I think they missed him in midfield. That's not to blame the young lads that were in there. It's just the way I see the team going, I can see rotation, but not wholesale changes. So similar to yesterday, Henderson drops out, Bajcetic comes in. You can see where Tsimikas might come in for Robbo. You know what I mean? But I can't see them throwing the baby out with the bathwater, because who's the next 4 games? It's Real Madrid, it's City, Chelsea, Arsenal.
Yeah.
And these are the games. It wouldn't surprise me, right? So I had this. I know I'd say I predict 4-0 every time for Liverpool to win, but realistically, I was looking at the 4 games, not Real Madrid now, Bournemouth and those 3, and I was thinking to myself, like, if you get 8 points out of 12, that's okay. You live with that. That's 2 wins and 2 draws. And I'm looking at yesterday as a banker 3, you know what I mean? That was right, we take the 3 there. So I'm as guilty, I'm as arrogant as the fucking players. You take your 3 there, and
but you're only thinking that on the basis that you're going to go out and you're going to. It's all, if Liverpool put effort in the way they're meant to.
I mean, they beat United 7-0 last week, so I'm assuming they're going to go into Bournemouth, and on the back of that, they're going to be able to get the win. And I was looking at that, and I'm thinking to myself, like, they get over that Bournemouth game, that half 12. I fucking hate the half 12ers, always did, right? So we get over that where you have 3 points in hand, or you have 3 points on the board. You're in the top 4 then. Do you know what I mean? You're in the top 4 for a couple of hours. So you're psychologically, you're putting pressure on other teams, and we let that slip. Do you know what I mean? And then I was looking at the next 3 games and say, right, if you get a win and 2 draws there, it's not the end of the world. The way the league is, I don't think we're in the situation where, like, when we're chasing league titles with City and a draw feels like the worst result in the world. This league is woeful. I think these teams are all going to drop points. I think there's opportunities that if you can just go and build a bit of momentum and get you. We fucking lost the momentum. You know what I mean? We've put ourselves behind the black ball now, where the reality is we probably need to win at least 2 of them, possibly 3 of them in the week to keep a bit of momentum going. And they've done that to themselves. They've absolutely shot themselves in the foot. But it wouldn't surprise me if Liverpool won the 3 games, because the big games, they can lift themselves for. We've seen it all year. They've done it against City. The only time City got the better of us was the Carling Cup, wasn't it? When we came back after the World Cup and we played them, they beat us in that one. I think other than that, have we bet them twice?
City.
Oh no, we bet them once. Yeah, we bet them once, and we bet them in the Charity Shield. And we were excellent. You know what I mean? And it's like, what the fuck? You can play against them. You can play against. We can slag everything, but the derby's always a big game, and they all thought that we were a soft touch and that we beat Everton. We beat Newcastle, the only team to beat Newcastle in the league twice. They lost again then after that. But, these were all big games and we're winning them and you're overcoming them. And it's still the Bournemouths that are beating you. And you're absolutely giving yourself no chance to get in there and to make a run for it. Like, don't get me wrong, I still think we can get fourth. I'm not writing it off because of this yesterday, but they're just doing me head in. Well,
no, I don't. I wouldn't write off fourth place because I look around and I think to myself, if you win your game in hand, which you still have on Spurs, you're 3 points off them with 10 games to go, or whatever. And I'm not writing fourth off, but what I'm saying is the confidence that you had going into yesterday. I'm looking and going, please, out of the last 11, we have 8 at home. That's what I'm thinking, because there's nothing. Away form at the moment is just appalling. And we go away to Chelsea and we go away to City and we're home to Arsenal in our next 3 league games. And okay, that's fine, they're big games. But they're big games that you could easily get bashed in. Or we could win it, or we could bash them. That's just the way those games can go. And Liverpool will be up for it. And these bigger sides will give you probably more time to play on the ball. You know what I mean? And we give them more time to play. Well. Yeah, and it goes like that. Red Steve says XG got Bournemouth 0.52, Liverpool 1.64 discuss. There's no point in discussing XG. It's not even a real stat. And I know you've said that, so I'll say that to you, but that's the truth. It's not a real stat. I have it on a good authority that they measure everything in it on some of the models except the player. So Joe Gomez with a volley from 12 yards out gets the same XG as Robbie Fowler getting a volley from 12 yards out. So XG is a load of bollocks. Let's be honest about it. Doesn't measure the rain, the weather, the wind, nothing like that. The bounce of the ball, the height it approaches a player at, nothing. Just where the player is when the ball is struck. Madness. Not even a stat. Anyway.
But in saying that, we did have chances.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? We did have good chances that if we had taken them in the first half, Van Dijk's header cleared off the line. Great clearance, I must say, by Lerm, I think it was. It was a great header by Van Dijk. The second one, was it the second one when he got tugged and was looking for a penalty?
Yeah.
Now, I think that was a penalty. And people are like, no, there was no contact there. He was running for the ball. He pulled his arm back and he lost the momentum to get the power in the header and it just hit off his head. That to me was a foul, but you're never going to get that. But that was it. They were set pieces, two set piece crosses, and we're getting our chances. We weren't creating that, and this is where the Salah issue comes back to it for me. Last week he was fucking brilliant. It was, what's the problem here? Salah's back. He's not just sticking out on the wing and being anonymous. He's getting in, he's mixing it up, he's doing it. I felt he reverted back to the previous incarnation we've had of Mo Salah, and that was very frustrating. He can't carry the team. I understand that. Look, we expect too much of him, but sometimes you do expect, and you're probably right to expect your big forward players to be able to dig you out. And we had a chance to get dug out yesterday. We had a fucking chance. Salah had a chance to get us back into that game. I thought Jota was excellent when he came back. I thought
Jota comes on and has a really good attempt, like a minute or two into the second half, and you're kind of going, I'm liking that. Do you know what I mean? But I get the whole thing, take your chances and stuff like that. But if you don't take them, Keith, your attitude, if your forwards aren't taking your chances, right? Your attitude from your midfield and your defence should be, well, look, we'll just keep it tight. We make sure we're rock solid here, and we'll keep giving it to them because they're good players and they'll score. Do you know what I mean? But it wasn't there, Keith. Even though we're getting chances, we still looked like we were fucking playing in slow motion. From the back and midfield, both on and off the ball. And
it was terrible.
That just gives. Listen, if we were rock solid and we were missing chance after chance after chance, right? Bournemouth wouldn't be encouraged. Bournemouth would be dropping way back in on top of the goalkeeper. There'd be a confusion. Something might drop and you score. But even though we are getting chances, Bournemouth were still encouraged by the fact that if they could get the ball out, they had a chance. Whereas if you kill that chance from them, they start dropping back and they start getting nervous and they start getting edgy and they start swinging at balls and all sorts. But we didn't do enough of it. We just didn't do enough of it. No. Salah was poor. Like at Anfield last Sunday, he was unbelievable. Couldn't get the ball off him. Great force touch, great runs, dribbling. He had the lot. But at the same time, on those tight pitches, you know, that's where you need to be. That's particularly, I think it's hard for your wide men. I think that's where the people in the middle of the park need to be interchanging and then looking for the wide men to get in behind, or giving them a chance to just get that little bit of space. Space is hard to find. It's at a premium in them sort of grounds. But I don't know. For me, it was one of those. I want to read this out, and I hope I get this name right. Sugbir Sekon says so many problems, but it can be summed as we are soft touch. As they used to say in Dad's armies, they don't like it up them. But I didn't even feel like they were putting it up us. It was just like, yeah, they're missing chances and they're going to give us chances. And Bournemouth were absolutely happy with that, weren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, and it was something you said earlier was the arrogance maybe of the players that they came out. They soon got put to them. Was it before the goal or was it after the goal? The one where the ball bouncing up in the air and Kanate is dragging out a blade and they're forward and the ball goes to Van Dijk and he's the wrong side of the other forward and you're looking at them and you're like, this is blatant terrible. This is Keystone Cop stuff. And you're
Then
thinking to yourself, like,
Alisson had a mad one as well. It was just after the goal.
Yeah.
And it was like, because I was watching that in their Telegram group, it was be interesting during the match, and you were kind of, and lads in there were kind of going, this should be 2-0. Like, what is going on? Like, this is just a switch has gone, and there's all sorts going on. Do you know what I mean? But
you're putting it, you're giving up too many chances, and you're, I a soft touch. It reminds me so much of the pre-Van Dijk Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? And they were awful days. Do you know what I mean? Like we were easy to get out with corners. Remember when Mignolet being goal, you'd give away a corner and you're like, oh, you know what's happening.
Yeah.
You don't want to be going back to those days, but we haven't looked a soft touch. That's the thing. People are saying, oh no, this is the proper season. Last week was the aberration or whatever, but we've looked more solid in the last while. We have looked more solid. We've obviously are giving up chances, and every team gives up chances. There's no team that doesn't give up chances. And at the moment, we just look very, very fragile when we're up against it. And, I don't know. We said this a couple of weeks ago. Just get the season over with. What will be, will be. Just get this season over with. And then United 7-0 happens and you're like, all right, yeah, this could be the catalyst. This could be the lighting of the touch paper that gets them moving and gives them that bit of confidence. So while they were grinding out a few, then they went and spanked them. And you're like, right, let's go from here. And it's just all gone. So I think this will be a case of there's going to be loads of bleeding. We're going to get loads of black eyes before now and the end of the season. And we're going to win. And we're going to win games. We're going to lose games. Too many people in the chat moaning, oh, you're dreaming this. Lads, this has been the season. We are absolutely cack. But so are the others. Do you know what I mean? The exception of Arsenal, who are having the season of their lives. Man City haven't been great this year. Chelsea are worse than us. We're bad. Chelsea are worse than us. Spurs are erratic. United are having a great season for their standards. We bleeding hopped off them. And people can say that's a rarity. We beat them 5-0 last season at Old Trafford and took our foot off the gas when Pogba was sent off. We beat them 4-0. We beat them 4-2. Us whopping them is not an aberration. That's, that's the way it is at the moment that we can perform against them. I just think this year Klopp has to get... You don't want to say an overhaul I think there has to be a resetting of the squad, of the tactics, of the plans and what they're going to do, because this at the moment is not cutting it, and trying to fix it during the season. Like trying to empty a boat when there's a hole in it, you know what I mean? Like he's trying to plaster it up at the moment. I think Liverpool need to get back to the drawing board a bit and try and draw up something that's a bit better than this, because the defending, the high line, I don't mind the high line when it's working. When it's not working, it's a bleeding disaster.
But the high line...
Zonal marking is the same. When it works, it's great. When it doesn't work, it's like, for fuck's sake, what's going on?
But the high line massively depends on what your midfield and your forwards do.
Yeah, we agree.
Has to be pressure on the ball.
Yeah.
Can't allow them to turn and look, because once they turn and look, wingers are watching and going, right, he's going to go there and he can time it better. And Liverpool, when they do press and when they put pressure on, for me, defenders, definitely defenders, but more than likely defensive midfielders off other sides that look to spray a ball around or be the man to get teams out. When they put pressure on there, it leads to percentage balls that these players are hitting, and that's where we gobble them up, or we did gobble them up, and that's not what's happening. So, you like I keep saying, if you're not willing to press the ball, your centre halves A, defend it and then bollock people out of it, right? Or B, do what you done yesterday. And what it leads to is your opposition getting more and more encouraged and getting more and more chances, you getting more and more frustrated, and then even when you get the ball back, they're back set in place, and you're not playing the ball fast, you're just whacking, passing it around for the
Very
sake of passing
lethargic, yeah.
it. Like
Very
Tanner
cordial.
7883 says here, a quote from Trent yesterday. I think looking back on it now, they probably wanted it more than us, and that is something that is unacceptable. We need to make sure that this thing doesn't happen again. Like, this is fucking Groundhog Day. You know, and
Yeah.
I hate all these fucking quotes after games and Instagram
Yeah.
posts and all that. I don't give a fuck what you think after the game. I don't care if you say you don't want it to happen again. Just make sure it doesn't happen between 12:30 and 2:30 on a Saturday, please. Or 3
Should be a
o'clock and
given.
5 o'clock on a Saturday. But I think back on it now, they probably wanted it more than us. How?
Yeah.
How could anyone? Why? That's the worst thing I've ever heard in football. They wanted a bit more than us. Why?
Because they're in a relegation scrap.
No.
We're in a
Listen,
blatant top 4 scrap. We should
listen.
have wanted that as much as anyone else.
If Bournemouth wanted it 100% and Liverpool wanted it 100%, and it came out yesterday where it was a 1-0 to Bournemouth because they scored a great goal, we missed a load of fucking chances, and we were really good. You go, fine. Both teams went at it, and that's what happened. That's football. But when you have your players coming out afterwards, and I'm sure there'll be other quotes along from Trent, and I'm sure he said that, and that's what's come out. There's probably more players thinking the exact same and would have answered the exact same if they were asked. But you can't put up with that. You simply can't. In no aspect of football should you go out and think after a game, he wanted it more than me, or they wanted it more than me. Because if they wanted it more than you shouldn't have been on the pitch.
Shame on you.
I know that sounds very harsh and maybe a bit simplistic, but seriously, like, wanting it more than us. I'm sorry.
Makes you sick.
And listen, right, part of me understands, you know, they come out on Instagram, they try to explain themselves, because when they have a really good game, they come out on Instagram, they celebrate, and people love it. And I suppose you have to take with the good with the bad. But when it's repetitive stuff, like, if you have players coming out there yesterday going, felt we got the wrong result there yesterday because this isn't this, you kind of go, yeah, they're, you know, feeling a bit sorry for themselves maybe, but you couldn't knock them for effort, but you could absolutely knock them for effort there yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's not often you say that about Liverpool sides, because even when they were poor, you know, and they have been poor this season, I never thought they weren't trying. And I never thought the bad form was down to them being overconfident or a bit
complacent.
Yeah, I never thought it was that. I just thought it was a bad run of form, perfect kind of storm stuff going on. Players not at it, that's fine. But yesterday really annoyed me. And I don't get too up and I don't get too down. You know this, Keith. You know, I'll be annoyed during the game, and an hour later I'm watching golf, you know what I mean, or whatever. But that annoyed me yesterday, coming out that pitch yesterday. I'm okay with penalties being missed. It happens. The fella misses very few. It's a terrible penalty. I'm okay.
Terrible penalty.
It is a terrible penalty, but they all happen. I'm all right with missing.
If it goes in, if it's a yard further, it's a great penalty. It's into the top corner.
If it goes in, you're kind of going 1-1, 70 odd minutes, I think it was, and you're going 20-25 to win it, right? But it happens.
Expect the arse
but it happens. But we shouldn't be watching them games and thinking, only for that penalty, right? Kevin Ball says, did you watch January, Gav? Kev, I watched every fucking Liverpool game for about 35 years. And I'm telling you, there was players. That game yesterday for me is the worst, where they've come out and thought we're Liverpool and we win a game of football. That's one of the worst I've seen in a while, and I think, especially off the back of that United win, they should have went out and went, you know what, we've shook a few people there last Sunday, around the league for different reasons. Now let's go and put a marker down early on this Saturday as well, and let's have the rest of the weekend where they have to worry about what we've done, not the other way around. Now we're sitting at 2:30 on Saturday going, who's going to win now and what's that going to do for us? And it's just an attitude. The penalty is a bad miss. A lot of people ask him why did Milner take it, but he's never going to take.
Salah's the penalty taker,
Yeah.
it's the way it is. I mean, I think Milner's a better penalty taker. I think Fabinho's a better penalty taker as well.
Mm-hmm.
But Salah's the penalty taker, so it is what it is. He's hardly going to give that up,
No, I didn't think. I didn't expect anybody but Salah to take that penalty when it come up, and I know that question comes up when he misses it. It was a bit of a weird penalty.
Yeah,
the way he hits it. I've seen him put him into that corner before, but side foot them hard and high. He done one against Arsenal a couple of years ago where he just punched it straight in there. But usually you go down the middle or you go,
low,
left or right, fairly lowish.
Yeah.
But it was a bit of a weird one. Frank
And
Carlisle
the thing, sorry, before we move off that, sorry, like the thing that annoyed me about the penalty, I agree, you can miss some and you can lose some, but we're 1-0 down to Bournemouth and we're not having any joy. He shouldn't have been aiming for the top corner on that penalty. Do you know what I mean? He should have been just getting that, smashing it in, and then worry about the fancy ones again. I know it's easy to say that because he misses it, but don't try and put it into the fucking top corner. You know what I mean? Don't try and put it into the top corner. You just get that on target and smack it in.
Kevin Sullivan says Salah has missed 4 for Liverpool. Yesterday was the only time he's missed a target. Well, unless you count the Leicester one that hits the bar, doesn't it? Yeah. So I don't know if that's counted as on target, but I get what you're saying, Kev. Frank says Klopp's substitutions were terrible. We were chasing the game and he brings on Milner. Why did he bring him on? I think because...
I disagree.
I think maybe because Trent was having a poor game, to be perfectly
probably
honest
looked better when Milner came on, to be honest.
But I kind of get where you're coming from, Frank, because, I don't mind Milner coming on as a sub. I genuinely don't. I don't give a fuck about his age. He's good. I think he's a good first sub, or a good sub if you're winning, because he can protect the game. And if you're losing, he's actually not bad because he's fairly solid defense. If you want to let a few more go on, if you ask him to defend, I think he's okay. But Trent wasn't having a good game, and that's not the first time it's happened, Frank. To be honest, he does it against Brighton, doesn't he? And he does it against somebody else. I think that's maybe the third time. Or maybe the third time he's taken Trent off for.
You can't accuse Milner of not having the hunger and the appetite. You know what I mean? Like he's getting on in years, but he is one that will try, as he tries as hard as he will, to try and stamp it and lift the team up around him. I just felt we looked even more solid when he went in there for Trent. I know he got skinned a couple of times for pace, but look, he's nearly my age. You know what I mean? Like some of them lads were quick; they were always going to beat him for pace, but. I sort of get, why are we still relying on an old James Milner? But look, there's no point in moaning about that. There's nothing really we can do. I felt it was a decent enough sub, to be totally honest.
Jake says he should have taken Bajcetic off way earlier. Carvalho's sub came way too late. Pasio says Milner puts the cross in that gets us the penalty. Imagine Salah trying to hit the like button, says Chris Golden. He'd go left and he'd hit the unlike one. We've one person that doesn't like the show tonight. Doesn't matter. That's how it goes.
You can't please everyone all the time, Gav.
No, we never choose most, or we never please most people, Keith, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Only one that's actually not bad if you've only got the one. Yeah, we'll take that.
What can you do? You know what I mean? But look, we look beyond that. We play Real Madrid, and then we're off for 2.5 weeks then, aren't we? And like people are saying, we get a break for 2.5 weeks. We've been shite when we've had breaks this season. Like we come back from the World Cup stinking. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not into this break at all. 3 people unlike now. I knew when we said people didn't like the all do that, don't they? It used to be funny. But Madrid on Wednesday. Now we're going to cover a load of stuff in Madrid in the next couple of days, Monday, Tuesday, definitely Tuesday. But like, there's no hope in this tie, is there? Like, be honest.
If we'd have bet Bournemouth yesterday, I'd have been all over this tie. I'd have been saying, "Fuck this, we can go there and smash them." Yeah. But now that's what that game done yesterday, Gav. It just takes the wind out of the sails. It's just now get this over with. If you can win the game, great. Do you know what I mean? If you win the game, even 1-0, it's not enough to get through, but you can win the game and say, right, we've done our best, move on, we fucked up in the first leg, blah, blah, blah. going into that now, I'm like, who's available? Who's playing? Are we going to go as strong as we can? Is he not going to go as strong as he can, even though it's an international break? Do you know what I mean? Like, is he going to try and win it? I'm sure he'll try and win it, but is he going to try and overturn that deficit? I don't know. It's a difficult one to do. Madrid aren't even playing great, but the difference is, like, they battered us, right, without actually getting many chances. I think they had 6 shots on goal and scored 5 of them. Barcelona are way ahead of them in La Liga, and United absolutely thumped them. Madrid are a much better big game team. Do you know what I mean? They're a much better. They're in their season now where they're sort of not struggling, like they're going behind against lesser teams and they're getting it back. But they're a big game team, and I can't see us going. They don't look mentally fragile enough for us to go and beat them handy to get through. Like Barcelona when we bet them, even though it was what a comeback that was, they'd already got knocked out for a couple of years in a row and given up big leads, you know, so there was a fragility in their mentality there that you could say, right, there's something there. Real Madrid are a big team, big players. I just can't see us going. And that's all based on the feel bad factor we have from yesterday. You know what I mean? If we'd have won it yesterday, I'd have been like, yeah, fuck, we hit 7 against United, we'll hit 7 against Real. But now, not so confident.
Well, the thing I look about it is that we're in a no-lose situation really going into it. You know, we're 5-2 down from the first leg.
Yeah.
It was a brilliant first half in that Real Madrid game. Then it was an absolute disaster. You know, I'm going into it, I'm kind of going, if we get the first goal, you never know.
Yeah.
Something mad could happen, but I just don't see Madrid not scoring. You know, I could probably see us losing by the odd goal maybe. But you never know with Liverpool. And but this is what annoys me, because you're going to have players going out there on Wednesday now. Like his team will probably be Alisson, Trent, Konate, Van Dijk, Robertson. He'll play Fabinho. He'll probably play Henderson. He might play Bajcetic instead of Elliott, and he'll play Salah, Gakpo, and Nunes. Right, Jota might even get a start, and you'll have fellas going out there and going, well, we have to right the wrongs from Saturday, and that fucking annoys me, Keith. I'm being honest with you, because it's just, don't be using yourself not bothering your bollocks on Saturday to be our inspiration to go away and win at Real Madrid. That does my head in. You know, Red Chili Fields will smash Madrid. I want to say this right, Marotra, I hope I got that right. He says, go one up at half time, keep it tight at the back, and last half an hour give it a go. We can take the extra time and penalties. We can see at least one. We need 4 goals. Be some bleeding Wednesday night if that happens. Let me see. Red Steve says, Gav, when's the Bobby show, the quiz, the draft? I've had enough of the actual football. And much love to the guys doing the full-time Reds after that. Listen, there'll be 2.5 weeks and now Liverpool won't there. So if you want to tell us what you want over those 2.5 weeks, we'll do our best to fill in the 2.5 weeks with the likes of quizzes, drafts. We'll definitely do a show on Firmino. I wanted to leave it to the end of the season, but if you want to do one now, we can do one. That's no problem. But like as always, when these breaks come up, we do try to fill in those couple of weeks with having a bit of a laugh, to be quite honest with you. And if you're stuck, you can go and always watch Bang Average Golf and watch me and Neil hacking the thing around the place. There's a new one in the morning there where I play with his clubs, and I forgot how bad it was, but it's bad. There's some good shots, there's some horrendous shots, and he needs to regrip his clubs. I'm being honest with you. He's probably not watching, but let me see. Mark says, guys, we need to face facts. In midfield of Elliott, Bajcetic on a regular basis will win nothing. Well, you know, I think you're being a bit unfair on the two of them.
Yeah.
The two young lads in the squad. I get where you're coming from, but they're not players you take out of your squad, Mark. For me, they're players that you absolutely need to bolster midfield in with legs. For me, with quality, and they'll see the benefit of it. Whether that's playing regularly, coming off the bench, whatever it might be. But I think you're being a bit harsh on those two players.
I think the two of them lads will save us a fortune. You know, I still think we need to buy. You know, we need to remake this midfield. But I think the emergence of Bajcetic has definitely given Klopp food for thought on what way he's going to go midfield wise. Like, whereas I would have seen a lot of people, and maybe I may have said it myself before, we need four. I don't think we now need four. And it's down to this young fella. I think he's done everything that's been asked of him. He makes mistakes. He's 18. Do you know what I mean? The shit mistakes I was making at 18, fuck's sake. Lucky he didn't end up in jail, you know what I mean? Never mind a few loose passes. We forget how young these kids are. Harvey Elliott's not very experienced for 19, but he's only 19 and he's playing in a position that is maybe not as familiar as himself. I understand people get frustrated when you see the two of them together and they think this midfield's going to get overrun, this midfield's going to get bullied. That's, that it's not down to them two just if the midfield gets overrun and gets bullied. It's the whole team really have to, defenders have to be on it. Your other midfielder has to be on it. It has to be helping them out. You know what I mean? I just felt yesterday they were up against Philip Billing, who's about 6'5", and Jefferson Lerma, very, very physical midfield. And they weren't able to influence it, but I certainly wouldn't be throwing the two of them out, throwing them under the bus. You know what I mean?
Think, listen, I get the point to an extent where you go Elliot, Bajcetic or Bajcetic, whatever you want to say it. In midfield, you're kind of going young players. And I think Bajcetic has been excellent since he came in. Like, genuinely, you couldn't throw the age thing up at Stefan Bajcetic. You can't. Watch him playing football. You cannot throw the age thing at him. Consistency, I think he's been consistently good. Yeah. There may be bits and pieces. He's getting bookings. He's picking up bookings. And that's probably just, he's a bit of... He's over enthusiastic at times going into a tackle, and yeah, that can be improved on. But for me, when you look at the midfield there, you're like, I hate talking about this midfield because we're going to do loads of it over the next couple of months. But if Naby Keita and Oxlade-Chamberlain, even you bring in two top midfielders, everyone benefits, including those young lads. Yeah, they might get less minutes, but there's no doubt that those two players have benefited from playing with, whether it's Fabinho or Henderson or I think by Bajcetic, Thiago, definitely. There's just he smacks of them, doesn't he, a bit? And you know what? They'll benefit. It is where it is. It is what it is at the moment, but we'll see where it goes. A few minutes left, so here's some suggestions, Keith, for what we should do while what is it? Is there international games on, or do you just have a big break?
Internationals.
Right. Well, Ant Mac wants the quizzes out. I think Ant Mac, is he the man that won a couple of the quizzes already? He only appears for quizzes. He's like this quiz godfather, and then he just pisses off. You don't see him for ages. Albert Bofo says, do a call-in show. Get Bertie on. He's absolutely nuts as Archie. I was going to do a show with Bertie. Me and Bertie just sitting down for an hour and having a nice chat about stuff. I might try that.
That's usually the call-in show because Bertie comes on and doesn't get off.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but we might just do a separate show,
an official Bertie show.
Yeah. Bertie talks.
Yeah.
Instead of
Ted you get talks. A load of Fianna Fallers calling in, looking in, thinking it's something else.
Jonathan says anything but Liverpool. Talk about crisps or toasters or something. I'm well up for that. People hate it when we do it. Only the hardcore watch, but I love doing it genuinely.
Yeah.
Let me see. Can we just talk about how you spread your butter, says Jake?
How's the butter? How's the butter yips?
It's getting better. It's definitely the angle. It's the angle of the knife. It's the angle of the knife. But I might go into that further on another stage. Gav, can we just... sorry, I got that, Jake Semester. Do a show about the Shiraz. Of course, the Shiraz is the best breakfast in Liverpool. That's all you really need to know. To be honest, I need a panini maker. Any suggestions? Says, I want to say Cool Dude at 11 to be spelt in a. He hasn't spelled it like Cool Dude, to be honest with you. Let me see. I think that's all the suggestions for the moment. It might be. If there's any more, sure, I'll find just comments flying in here.
Have you any
Jake says if we turn it around against Madrid, I'll drop 100 donation into the charity. Now, the charity. So we're just over $2,000. It's slow. I'm not gonna lie to you. It is slow, right? So all I want people to do, genuinely, is after this show, whether you're watching it live or you're listening back, go into the description. You will see the link. Copy it on your phone or your desktop or your tablet, wherever it might be, and paste it to your friends, your family, your WhatsApps, your Facebook Messenger, your group messages, whatever you have. Bring it into work and print it out on a sheet and stick it in the canteen. And if anybody asks what's that, say to them, 12 women running the Dublin Marathon for breast cancer research. It's a brilliant, brilliant charity they're doing it for. It's an unbelievable undertaking that they're doing as well to do this. And that's all we ask. Like, any of the super chats coming into us, we're grateful for them. We only receive 70% of the amount you see going up on the screen, but we're giving that 70% to the charity as well. Yeah. So that's a way of doing it. If you want to sponsor anything for the golf day or donate a prize for the golf day, LFC Daytrippers at gmail.com. Give us an email, we'll get back to you. If you about getting money off you or getting a prize off you, or you sending us money and we'll go out and buy the prize. Like, you don't have to go and buy a prize, you can just go, here, there's 50 quid for a prize, and I will go and buy it, and I will email you back the receipt to show you that I've paid for it. Literally anything you need, we'll go out of our way to buy prizes, to get the money off you for sponsors. And all we ask, we do this for free. We've never charged money for any podcast we've ever done, and all we ask is that you copy and paste or contact us if you want to help us out, because by you giving a prize, that means more people will be there on the night, more people will buy raffle tickets, and every penny that's sold on raffle tickets goes to the charity, because where we're holding that night is not charging us. Everyone's brilliant when it comes to this stuff. So that's all we're asking for you. The charity, please, if you see the link, copy, paste it, donate wherever you can. And genuinely, like, if everyone listening to this and everyone watching this turned around and says, you know what, I'm going to give them a £5 for all the content they're going to do between now and the end of the season, which is 3 months, which is 12 weeks, which is probably about 70 shows, right? I'm going to give them a £5 for that. If everyone done that, we'd piss this. Like, genuinely, we would piss it. But the golf day is huge in getting a bulk amount of money. I don't really want to chat Gary Lineker. He's in the right. That's all I'm going to say on it. He's in the right. Anything else before we go, Keith?
No, it's so soul destroying after these fucking Reds let you down again. But this is what we do, you know what I mean? We'll be doing it next week. Well, not next week, but, as the season goes on, as you said, there'll be shows here, there, and everywhere. And, the work that goes into it for free shows, the amount of free shows that we put on, it's so much that goes in. And I understand, look, times are tight, money is tight, but any little bit helps, every little bit helps. If we can push this as much as we can and get it over the line, because it's a great cause. It's something that's affected everyone. It's touched everyone at some point in their lives, I'm sure, whether it's someone we know, someone we love, we've all been hit by that. And if we can do any little bit to help these ladies who are doing a great thing, do you know what I mean? Doing a great thing.
It's a mad thing they're doing. Like, it's
fair
off the wall, mad.
Yeah, it's great, Gav. You know what I mean? It's fucking brilliant.
Keith, listen, I couldn't watch the Dublin Marathon that goes on that long.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No. If you emailed me and says, Keith, what do you think of a marathon? I'd say I preferred when it changed to Snickers, and that'd be my only bleeding input on a marathon. But I just think it's an excellent thing that these ladies are doing, and the more we can get, the better. And I know it's easy for people, we can say that, and people in the chat are like, yeah, it's a good idea. Throw in, do a bleeding little donate, you know what I mean? It'll get them where they need to be. But look, we won't force that. We will force it, but we'll pretend we won't.
No, to be honest with you, we just tell you at the end of every show that what it's about, because usually what happens is it's more for the people that might be new and watching. And they might go, oh, right, that's going on. And it does have it on the screen, link in the description. And people listening, new listeners to the podcast, the downloads, it's for them as well. But genuinely, if you gave us about 7 cents per show from now to the end of the season, you'd give us about a £5. And if everyone done that, we'd piss it. Gav needs to get down to one of those training sessions, says Jonathan. I'm not going near the training session for a marathon. I'd be bleeding, so I'd be sweating watching them. But it's a brilliant thing they're doing, and hopefully it'll kick on and the money will start rolling in. Chris Golden says, do the marathon on an electric scooter and stream it. No, I don't think you're allowed. I think you get stung doing that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Let me see.
Little GoPro on your head or something. Like your man Jeremy Vine on his bike attacking buses in London.
No, we're not doing that. What's on for the rest of the week? Winners and losers tomorrow. Tuesday we'll do a preview of the Madrid game. Wednesday we will do a full-time Reds after the Madrid game. We should have a viewer's voice on Thursday. We won't do a Premier League forecast then on Friday, or full-time Reds obviously. And we'll be back on the Sunday with the Fatback 4. But the Fatback 4 might be the start of the messing.
Yeah.
For 2 weeks. So we're giving you pre-warning now. From next Sunday for the following 2 weeks, it more than likely be just messing.
Yeah.
A bit of football, the odd quiz, a draft, phone-in shows. I'll get Bertie on to do a show with me. Whatever. So yeah, we'll cover that 2.5 weeks as best we can. But I don't want anyone moaning. I don't want anyone fucking moaning. Oh, why aren't you talking about, transfers or FSG in those 2.5 weeks? We won't be. We'll be talking about crisps and stuff like that. And Wango, who's usually in the comments after the show, but he's come in here live now to have a go. He's another fella that doesn't like me, by the way. Gav will get lapped, he says, in the marathon. I fucking would as well. I'll be in the pub. If you run by the same pub twice, I'll definitely get lapped. Let me see. Archie says, Gav, the marathon's a great atmosphere. You should go and experience it. Do you know what? I'll tell you what then. If we reach the goal that's 20 grand, I would go in and stand and watch all them. Every marathon run I'll run by me on that.
We'll do a watch along. We'll do a
me
marathon.
And you'll do it.
Me
and you'll just go and watch it. Well, we could do it, Keith. You just stand with a bag of cans on the side of the street. Just watch them all going by. I think. Red Chili says, I'm going to donate right now. Hope it goes through. I tried before and it didn't work. Red Chili, trust me, go into GoFundMe and just type in G4MO Ashbourne and it will come up. The link is definitely in our description. 100% it's in the description. It's on our social media. So you'll definitely find it. Yeah. All right. Bit of exercise never killed anyone, Gav. So Jonathan, I need loads of exercise, Jonathan. If any of you see me on the Golf Channel, you know I need loads of exercise. And part of doing the Golf Channel is to get exercise, to believe it or not. So yeah. Look,
don't be explaining yourself to this.
No, do you know what I'll do? I'll walk to the spot where we're going, but the bus probably parks right. We'll probably just get off the bus and stand there. Do you know?
Yeah.
Let me see. Gav high five and all the runners and walkers, is Chris? No. There you go. That's it, I think. You good?
Good. Golden.
Yeah, good. I enjoyed that. Wasn't too bad. After
it's hard. It's fucking hard.
Yeah, it is, but that's life.
But it's great to do it. Yeah,
there's bigger things in life than football.
Yeah, that's true.
That's how it goes. And we all have massive things going on in life. And Phil Murphy says, Gavin Bertie doing commentary in the marathon. I'll definitely get Bertie on. I promise to get Bertie on for me and him for a random chat sometime next week. Not the week coming, the week after. I promise, because Bertie said he'd do it anyway. Right, that's it. Thanks a million, Keith. Thanks everyone in the chat. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the 5 dislikes. Anyone listening?
5 dislikes.
Yeah. They're all pricks. And thanks for all of that. And anyone listening, give us a 5-star review on your podcast app. That's really important as well. So go and do that as well. It's been another Sunday night. It's been the Fatback 4 with Gav and Keith. Talk to you in a bit. Over and out.